What's good, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As you do know, this is the Water Boys channel, and we have a Thursday night game to recap as the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 24-21. I'll go more in depth with everything, fantasy perspectives, who to look out for in the future, what we should make believe with the Cincinnati Bengals, how close are the Jacksonville Jaguars to winning the game, and without further ado, let's recap and jump into this game. This game started out as a shocker to a lot of people because Jacksonville jumped up early, 14-0. Their defense looked very strong. Cincinnati couldn't do much against them. Joe Mixon wasn't running that well. Then also, too, the passing game was very in sync. Joe Burrow wasn't hitting his passes. It was very in and out. What really changed this game early on, which I agreed with the call, I just didn't agree with the play that they called when it happened, was for Jacksonville to go up 21-0. They were on the 1 yard line. They just did it. They tried to do a simple quarterback sneak. It didn't work. And in that type of situation, what I want to see Jacksonville to do more in the future is run James Robinson. They did do it well. They did it very well tonight. He had 2 touchdowns. I want to say close to 100 yards. He was doing his thing. As you noticed in the first 3 weeks, he was basically absent. They did not want to feature him whatsoever. He started to show up last week, but in the first 2 weeks, nothing. I don't know if it was because they tried to implement more of Travis Etienne in there and then he's gone. And you could tell it's like they didn't want James Robinson on this team. That's how it really feels like. But if we backtrack to last year, and I know Urban Meyer wasn't there, James Robinson is a stud running back. He even proved it tonight. I think if the Jacksonville Jaguars want to be successful this year, make Trevor Lawrence's job easier too, depend on James Robinson because he is a stud. And as well, so is Trevor Lawrence. I wouldn't want to say he had a coming out party today, but I will say it's been his best game this year. He proved, which we all know, he's very mobile. He made a couple of stellar passes, which shows you the future is bright. On the other hand, I know Jaguar fans don't feel that way right now because you guys have lost the last 19 games. And yeah, that shit is hard. I understand. Like, I've been there. I know, Chiefs fan. I've been a Chiefs fan since '03, so I've been through those droughts where we've lost 10, 12 games in a row. I'm loving life right now, even though the 0-2 streak I'm not, but I'm loving it. But I understand what you guys are going through, but with a quarterback like that, the bright side is up. Another downer for the Jaguars too, but I'll also flip it with the upside as well. DJ Chark, he got hurt really early in the game. He actually fractured his ankle. So, yes, he's going to be out for a due period of time. But with that, too, keep your eyes out for, which we saw a lot of tonight, was Laviska Shenault. He looks like a playmaker. He looks like a stud. And honestly, on a lot of third down passes, that's who Lawrence was looking for. And he was making those plays. He was showing up big. There was a play where he bootlegged out to the left, threw a dime on the other shoulder, and Shenault caught it. I think he's going to be a big factor. And for you fantasy owners, if he's not taken or if he's on your bench, I say he's not going to be on your bench much longer because I think he's the number one guy moving forward. Now, I want to know, people are going to be like, whoa, hold up. What about Marvin Jones? Marvin Jones, I think he's a playmaker. He's proved it with Detroit and everything like that, but I don't think he's the number one on the team. I think he's a solid number two. And Shenault, he's got a ways to go, but if he keeps seeing all those targets, he's going to be great. Now let's focus more on Trevor Lawrence, of course, who Tim calls Mr. Sunshine himself. I think he had a solid game. I think it was his first game this year with no turnovers. There's a lot to learn from as well. I think one thing I want to see him do more is believe in your teammates and mostly believe in James Robinson. A lot of those RPOs, let James Robinson take over because he took some shots he didn't need to be taking as well. I get it. He's mobile. He's a playmaker. But at the end of the day, that's not the type of hits I want to see him taking. Definitely in a, I don't want to say a meaningless game, but it's early in the season. You're not fighting for a playoff spot just yet. And right now you're 0, is it 0-4 now? Yeah. You're 0-4. I would say just watch out for those hits because your team's going to need you down the line and definitely in the future. Let's move on to the Cincinnati side because things did look scary, and I do want to talk just on a game perspective aspect as well. When this game started, when it was slated on Sunday, and then me and Tim were talking about it on Tuesday, I was comfortable with Cincinnati, but then Cincinnati started missing key pieces. Jesse Bates didn't play in this game, and then they were missing another piece, T. Higgins as well, which we'll get into that because Cincinnati is loaded on offense. But for you bettors, you saw the spread was 7.5, and even at that, that just seemed way too risky. I know what they're trying to do is like Cincinnati's going to have to win by 8. We feel they're going to win by a touchdown, but they're not going to win by the 8, which is very clever because that's what made me not touch the game whatsoever, and they only won by 3. So I feel sorry for you fans who took that, or you bettors who took that, because I knew that was a risk all the way, and then when it got closer, it's just like, I feel like Jacksonville's going to pull the upset, and they really should have pulled off the upset. It's just when it got to that second half, Cincinnati came out hot, swinging, and ready to win the game. But before I dive into any more of that, I want to say, and I want you guys to comment down below too, or I'll put a poll up as well. Is Cincinnati for real? If we look at it right now, they're basically the sole leaders in the North just because they have the one game because no one else has played yet because Sunday, but they're 3-1. You got Cleveland, they'll probably be 3-1, but they got a hard test against against Minnesota. So we'll see how that goes. Pittsburgh, they're probably the worst team in the division. Who would have thought we'd be getting to there? And then who am I missing? Baltimore. I don't believe in them solely yet. They do got a huge task against Denver. I can see them taking it. We'll get more into that as well later on in the week when me and Tim have our picks on the podcast. But Cincinnati right now, I can see them at the end of the week, honestly, being in sole possession of first place. Will they hold on to it? A lot of things had to be answered tonight, and I thought they were going to have that kind of hangover that a lot of young, new teams do, which is you had Pittsburgh last week. It was a huge rivalry game. That's a huge win. Then that letdown usually happens afterwards, which is where I thought Jacksonville would have capitalized on, and they probably should have, but they didn't. And Cincinnati still has that one loss on their record. And that's huge for Cincinnati, too, to have a winning streak now because a lot of teams usually fall for that. They usually fall for that slump, those teams that try to come in and knock you off by surprise, and it didn't happen. So one thing that's very, very impressive with the Bengals to me, and I've always mentioned it before, is that offense. So, yes, T. Higgins, people would probably say the best receiver on that team, but they got receivers, though. It's like Jamar Chase is stud. He could be the best receiver. Tyler Boyd is a stud. He could be the best receiver. Auden Tate, I wouldn't say he's the best receiver, but he's also a baller as well. And then they found another weapon tonight in CJ Uzomah. Again, fantasy perspectives. Me and Tim was talking about it. Tight ends are hard to come by. You definitely need to have a good one stashed on your bench. I know after tonight, he going to be gone. Like, he going to be claimed on everyone's number one priority because man, he looked like a Kelsey out there. He looked like a Kittle. He's very versatile. He's very, limber. Like, he was weaving in and out of everyone. He's someone to keep your eyes out for. And then what I also love to see, too, as well, is Joe Burrow. He seems like he's fully healthy. He was throwing, slinging the ball. What we are used to. Hopefully, he doesn't go back to the rookie year where he's throwing it about 60 times a game because that was ridiculous. The line, I don't want to say it's great, but it is looking better than last year, so that's also another positive, but I think they got a long way to still go. The defense was making some solid plays to get them back in the game. Let's note something. I don't know how serious it is. We'll get injury reports down the line, but Joe Mixon did get hurt. We didn't see him in the last part of the fourth quarter, which could have been crucial because Cincinnati was still fighting to win the game. They had P. Ryan in there. He did his thing, and they didn't really need him too much because Joe Burrow drove him down the field. He was zinging those slant routes in. Tyler Boyd made hell of a catch where it was just right in the muscle and then it hurt his wrist, but he was fine. He came in a couple plays later. My main takeaway from it is Cincinnati for real with this because I'm going to have to look at their schedule down the line, but starting off 3-1 is very, very clutch. We talked about it last year as well on my other channel, Sneaker Agents, when we made our picks, is they're a scary team last year to go against because they got talent, but they just weren't there yet. If this is the year they're there, they could be one of those teams, and I don't want to kind of put a downer on it, where they make the wild card and then they're out. But that's a huge year for Zach Taylor to finally get the team back in the playoffs and something to build on. If they can get those defensive pieces together, they might be a team to be reckoned with. Now, as for Jacksonville, they're a very, very young team. I think what they need to do first is just find a way to win a game, because once you win a game, it becomes contagious, just as losing does too. You got to find a way to get that off your shoulder and off your back. I think the way Jacksonville wins football games is running the ball. You got to take the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, like I mentioned. Focus on James Robinson. Make him your number one guy. Make him your bell cow. Make that offense go through him. plays will open up, play actions will open up. Your defense actually looked pretty decent tonight. I always rag on them because they're not that defense back from 2015 and 16 that took you to the championship, but they almost showed they're a defense that can win a game too and keep you in a game. And Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback that can prove he can win a game in the NFL, which we haven't seen yet. I think it's sooner than later. Focus on your run game, though. I think that'll take a lot of pressure off for Urban. It'll take a lot of pressure off for Trevor Lawrence. But let me know down below if you guys think Cincinnati is for real. Can they take the North this year? I might even put a poll up on Instagram and Twitter. Just let me know how you feel. With that being said, that will wrap up this recap of the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Cincinnati and taking an unfortunate loss, 24-21. If you guys made it this far in the video, it is greatly appreciated. Please do subscribe to the channel because we have the funnest video that we always do. We will be making our predictions on Saturday. We'll be up before Sunday's games. You do not want to miss out. I am currently one game ahead, but Tim is right on my tail with it. We both went 11-4 last week. That means there is no room for error. And also, please do give me this thumbs up on this video. Please give us that like as well. We do have a page on it's Facebook, but also Instagram, where I will be promoting as well. Please do follow that. You won't miss out on any videos that will drop, and we keep you up to date on all the latest NFL news and rumors. And with that being said,